case you're wondering, this Witch's Brew flavor of Alani is the best flavor of Alani that exists. Like, hands down. It's so good. It tastes like one of those caramel apple pop things. I'm so here for it. Hello. Good morning. I'm coming to you from the couch. It is a early Saturday morning. Let me adjust you just a little bit here. Let's get Mr. Dante in there. Okay, we gotta get good boy Dante in there because he's part of this here. Hello, it is a Saturday morning. It's a 3-day weekend, and I plan on reading a lot. So I thought, you know what? Why not bring you along on this journey of a little reading vlog, a little weekend reading vlog, because I do have some very unattainable reading goals that I'd like to try to do this weekend. You know, it's been a busy couple of weeks, and I'm really trying to have a nice day today of doing a little bit of work, but doing a lot of reading. My kiddo is at his once a month sleepover at grandma's house. I've got a full 24 hours child-free where I can be irresponsible and stay up late at night, drink energy drinks, and read a lot, hang out with my pug. And again, try to sneak some work in as well, because I do need to do some work throughout this weekend. Always got to be ahead. Always got to be ahead. So reading vlog, here we go. A couple of things on the docket. Today is August 31st, so it's the last day of August. And I have this crazy Delulu idea that I am going to try to sneak in another book before August is done. I have read 4 books this month, and I'd love to try to squeeze in a couple more here. I have an audiobook that I'm almost done with. My energy drink is really kicking in here. It's pretty great. I'm almost done with my audiobook, which I have not done a lot of audiobooks this year. I've been doing a lot of just physical books or my Kindle. Since getting a Kindle, that has been a real game changer, especially with the series that I'm currently reading, which we'll get to in a minute here. The audiobook that I'm currently reading and that I'm almost done with, I only have an hour and 45 minutes left on it, is A Life with Ghosts. It is written by the guy from Ghost Hunters, the TV show. It's a cute book. It's not quite a memoir, but it kind of, oh, sorry. Did the buzz of my phone scare you? Sorry. It's not quite a memoir, but it's more of like each chapter is a different haunted location, and he goes in depth about his investigations there, kind of some behind the scene tales and stories with ghost hunters. That's kind of fun if you're a fan of the show, to kind of get some of the behind the scenes stories is kind of interesting. Also, it's just like a very quick and dirty history of a number of these very famous locations. It's good. It's been a fun listen, but I've been listening to it forever. I typically always have one audiobook that's kind of just going in the background, but I just have not had a lot of time to really sit and listen to an audiobook. I'm also not a real good like audiobook multitasker. I feel like if I'm listening to an audiobook, it has to be like when I'm driving or like when I'm walking. And even then, sometimes I'm not in the mood for it. It's also hard when like the new Sabrina Carpenter album just came out and it's like just nothing but bangers. And that's all I kind of want to listen to when I'm walking my dog. I think I've only read or listened to 3 other audiobooks this year. Otherwise, everything else has been physical books. I think I just read my 35th or 36th book of the year. So I'm pacing very well to hit my 50 book goal for the year. I think I'm actually 4 books ahead of schedule. But anywho, I always try every month to at least read a book a week. That's kind of the general goal. So this weekend with the long weekend, I thought, you know what? Let's see if I can get some more books shoved in here. So I've got my little audiobook, A Life with Ghosts, that I'm only have a little bit left that maybe I can try to get through. The other big brick that you are seeing me hold up here is Gleam by Raven Kennedy. This is book 3 of the Plated Prisoner series. Oh my God, these books are so much fun. They are so much fun. I got sucked into them because a friend of mine recommended that I read these because they're on Kindle Unlimited. So when I first got my Kindle, I had kind of put out a thing on Instagram of like, okay, I've got a Kindle now. What are the Kindle Unlimited things that I should load? Again, a close friend who I trust her fantasy book recommendations. She was like, this series is a lot of fun. Just get onto it, especially because the last book of this series, I believe, just came out. So it's kind of like perfect timing. Well, what happened is that I read book 1 as like my nighttime Kindle book. So I've learned I always have an audiobook going. I always have like 3 to 4 physical books books going. And then I always have a Kindle book in progress so that late at night, when I'm all curled up and I turn the lights off, I have my 15 minutes of Kindle time before I completely pass out while listening to ASMR, of course. So that's kind of like I was just slowly chipping away at book 1 and book 2, not realizing how chonky these books are in real life. I didn't realize it. Well, I got through book 1 on the Kindle, absolutely loved it. That book definitely feels more like a prequel than anything else, especially once you get into book 2, but you don't realize it. Like the story really takes a different turn than where you think it's gonna go in book 2. And like when I got about halfway through book 2, I realized, okay, I see where things are going. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really digging this. You know, is this the most well-written fantasy series of all time? Like, is the prose absolutely breathtaking? And no, it's not. It's very easy to fall into fantasy romance, but I will say the romance element of this series has been very slow burn. I'm in book 3 of this chunky thing, and we're really only getting some romance happening in this book here. So it takes a bit to really get to the good stuff. And even then, I would say that this is slow burn, and it is a delicious slow burn, let me tell you. And let me also backtrack a little bit. It is a King Midas retelling, which I didn't know anything about the King Midas story. I didn't know anything about that. So really, I went into this series very cold, not knowing anything at all. And I think that's the best way to go into it. I will say check trigger warnings for sure, especially with book 1. There is a couple of scenes in there that are pretty graphic. So I would say please check trigger warnings, especially with book 1. Book 2 wasn't as bad. I'm trying to remember. Book 2 wasn't as bad, and this one's been fine. Do check trigger warnings for sure before jumping into this series. So yeah, again, book 1 feels very much like a prequel, and I'm trying not to really talk much about what's going on in this series because I feel like I actually kind of can't, because even just talking about the love interest, who he is a spoiler in itself, which I know sounds crazy town, but I can tell you, I can say he is probably one of my favorite MMCs ever, which is crazy because, you know, the book boyfriend list is long. We've got Rhysand in there. Xaden from Fourth Wing is in there. Okay. This guy blows those ones out of the water, I think. The other thing about this series that I think is really fun, especially now in book 3, it really gets set up a lot in book 2. Like book 2, I think really sets the direction of where the series is going. But I think there's a lot of really good storylines happening at once. You do jump between a few different POVs, which is fun. It kind of keeps things fresh, but it also like really reinforces a lot of the different storylines that's going on here. You've got really interesting political stuff that's going on, but not overwhelming political stuff. Very easy political structure, kingdom structure. There are different kingdoms, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. They're all led by different kings or queens, and those kings or queens have power because only magical people can basically rule. So in that regard, it's very simple. Some of the magic things can be a little bit questionable, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward, easy to follow. The world building is very easy to follow, and that's, I think, what makes these books so enjoyable, is that as a fantasy, it's very digestible. And the characters in it are very interesting. I can't really talk about it. All I can say is that I'm very into this series. It's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I was reading these entirely on my Kindle until, again, I got like halfway through book 2 and I realized, I need the physical books. I need the trophy. I need the trophy, but I also do like reading physical books. So I did go back and buy book 1 and book 2. I also read physically the back half of book 2, and I'm now in book 3, which is called Gleam. I can never remember what the titles of these books are because it's like glint, glimmer, gold, gleam, guild. I can't keep up. I think guild is book 1, Glint is book 2, Gleam is book 3. I think. Don't quote me on that. But anywho, highly recommend as just a really fun fantasy romance with a lot of stuff going on, a lot of interesting storylines going on, and I'm invested in all of it. I'm interested and invested in all of it. Can I finish this book today? I don't know. It's a behemoth. The text on it is kind of big though, like the margins are big and the font is big on it. So maybe there's a chance. I'm currently on page 420 and there is 780 pages in this book. So I would love to try to finish this today if I can. That's a big ask. But I am going to do my best because I would love to mark this off as a book that is finished. Some other books that are kind of on the docket, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Hannah Grace's new book just came out, Daydream, which I did pre-order and I already have it in my paws. I'm waiting for my bestie to get her copy though, because we are going to be buddy reading that together, but I'm hoping to start that this weekend. That would be really great. If I finish this, you know I got to go get the other physical copies, so we may be making a bookstore run, okay, for me to go get the next book in this series because I need the physical copy. That's where we're at. I'm going to keep reading this here and drinking my Witch's Brew Alani, which is hands down the best flavor. I'm going to have to stock up on these so that I have them for the rest of the year. My goodness. And let's just see how much of Gleam I can get through. I do need to go do some work at some point, but for now I'm going to rot on the couch. Welcome to a new reading vlog. By the way, I look really haggard because I'm still in my pajamas, so it's a long weekend. I really don't have to explain myself, but just letting you know, that's the situation. Remember how I said it was a slow burn? It's a spicy meatball. If you don't like spice, this might not be the book for you. This might not be the series for you, just saying. I'm having a grand old time though, I'll just say that. It's a spicy meatball. I don't know what else to say, I just keep giggling. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye. Hello. From the same spot on the couch. Different day though, it's the next morning. I made a pretty hefty dent and I am in the last 100 pages and I am stressing. The last chunk of this story here, I am sweating, I am gasping, I am stressed. I'm very stressed with where this is going to go. I'm thinking there is a cliffhanger that's going to hit on this and I'm a little nervous. But yeah, I did a pretty gnarly dent yesterday. I would say like, almost half the book I read yesterday, but I was doing that in between doing other things. So I wasn't just rotting here on the couch all day. So I did get some Patreon work done, which was good. And had a little date night, which was also fun. But yes, I'm having a blast with this. I will say there has been a couple of scenes towards the end here that has been particularly graphic. So I will say, trigger warnings, peeps. I just will say, just check trigger warnings before diving into this series. But I do get sensitive about some stuff here and there. I think it's fun. It's entertaining and there's just so much that happens in this tale. There's so much that happens. It's wild. There's so many storylines at once, and there's no way this is all going to get wrapped up in 100 pages. So I know we are going to have to go get the next book in the series. I already know. I also already researched this morning. There are 6 books in this series, and the 6th book is coming out September 24th. So I am right on target to probably read book 4 and 5 before 6 comes out, which is very exciting. So hopefully I'll be able to read the whole rest of this series, and I'm very excited about it. Anywho, just wanted to give you that little update. I'm in the last 100 pages. I will be finishing this today. I do have some errands I have to run today before my kid gets dropped back off, which is actually not a bad thing because it means I'm going to be in my car. I have to drive a little bit today. So being in my car, I do think I'll be able to finish that audiobook. So even though technically it's September 1st, I do think the things that I finished today, this book and the audiobook, I'm probably going to count for August because look, the majority of the reading happened in August, right? I might fudge my Goodreads a little bit and just say that I finished it yesterday because we're nearly there. We're nearly there. It's going to be finished today. So I'm just trying to squeeze in a little bit more reading now before I actually have to get changed and get my life together. And then I'll be listening to my audiobook in the car. This book has me in a chokehold. Like James and I went out to dinner last night and he kept looking at me and he was like, "What are you thinking about?" And I'm like, "I'm thinking about my book." I was in the middle of like a crazy scene and I had to pause it. And I'm like, that's all I'm thinking about is coming back to finish my book. Even when we were ordering drinks, I was like, I'm just having one glass of wine because I need to read tonight. I need to get back to my book. I'll check in with you later. Okay. Hello. I have been running my errands. Have I been listening to my audiobook? No, I've been listening to Sabrina Carpenter at full blast. We have made it to a Barnes & Noble. This is a Barnes that I don't typically go to. Sorry if the lighting is really weird in here. This is a Barnes that I don't typically go to. I call it Pretty Barnes. Pretty Barnes is much like how I describe it. It's pretty. It's a newer Barnes that opened, I'd say a year ago. And it's one of those ones where the ceilings are low and they have it set up more like an indie bookstore sort of vibe, not the giant Barnes kind of thing. It's so pretty and small. It doesn't have a cafe, right? It doesn't have a coffee shop in it. So that's how you know what we're working with. So I call this Pretty Barnes. I'm going to bring you in with me. I'm going to switch to phone cam because I'm not brave enough to film with this camera in the store. So we're going to switch to phone cam and see what we get up to. Again, I am mainly here to get book 4 of the Plated Prisoner series because I want to be able to roll right into it. Even though I have access to it on my Kindle, I need the physical thing in my hands. So that's what we're going to go do. And then afterwards, we're probably going to get some coffee because 'tis the season for pumpkin spice lattes. Okay, time for a car haul. I really restrained myself. Look, Pretty Barnes is pretty, but it's really fun being in there because the shelves are really stocked, jam-packed, and it's very easy to navigate around because it's small. It's a very small Barnes, but they don't have a lot of stuff in stock. So unfortunately, the book that I'm looking for, they only had in hardcover because I guess they just re-released this series of books in hardcover with gold edges and these beautiful white covers. They're gorgeous, but I don't need those. And I already have the paperback versions of them. So I need consistency. It's got to be paperback. And I don't know why I'm on this intense mission to try to find this book because I literally have it on my Kindle. So I can roll right into book 4. I don't know why I'm being a big baby about this. But anyways, a quick book haul before I start to swelter in here. I did get 2 books because I can't resist. I can't resist. It was also triple stamps weekend, so I want to get a couple of stamps, a couple extra stamps. And these were books that were on my radar anyways, so I picked them up. First up is Savor It by Tara DeWitt. I feel like I've seen a number of people talk about this book and really love it. It also feels like a good maybe end of summer little romance read. So I thought that was kind of fun. It's on my list. It's been on my wish list for a while. So I went ahead and I picked it up. Let's take a whiff. Oh, it's good. Okay. The next one that I picked up is a vastly different, contrasting genre here, is the horror book A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. I have not read anything from this author, so this is going to be a new to me author experience. I've heard very good things about a number of his books, but especially this one. It sounds very spooky from what I have read, and from what I've seen from other people as well. They say it's like the most terrifying book of all time. So sign me up. It just seemed like the perfect little spooky season read. I was on the fence of maybe grabbing like Rosemary's Baby, but I think I might be buddy reading that at some point with my best friend Allie. There was a couple other horror books that I was very tempted by just because we are on the cusp of fall Halloween season. I did want just a new spooky book in the pile, although I will admit my fall TBR is getting borderline obnoxious, but it's fine. This is fine. The Plated Prisoner series is really skewed my whole vibe, because it's nudged all of these books off of my TBR because I'm just in such a rabbit hole with this series. So all of my time and attention is going into that. So anyways, I did good and I limited myself to 2 little bookie books. This Barnes didn't even have 50% off tables. Like, what's up with that? What's up with that? Anyways, I have my pumpkin spice latte and I'm going to head home now so that I can go finish Gleam. I think that's the right title. Gleam. So I can go finish book 3. I left during a crazy time. I had to leave. I had to meet someone. And I left during a really crazy time in that book. So I'm really looking forward to getting home, picking it back up, and finishing it today. All right, that's the latest. Wow, I really restrained myself. I was gonna go full tilt in this Barnes today. I really didn't even need to get this, but you know, I don't come to this one often. I had to do it. Okay, that's it. Going home. I can't wait to go read. Hello from the couch. Okay, I just finished Gleam. Oh my God. This book was so much fun. Not gonna lie. Not a lot that I can obviously say with this book because it is book 3. And I've said a number of times previously, there's a lot of things that can be spoilers. Even just talking about certain character names, what they do, their relationships are major spoilers. And I think that's the fun part of this book and this series is just like the cast of characters is very good. Very, very good. And there's some things that you just don't see coming. The overall, Dante, stop itching your butt. There's a lot of things that you just don't see coming. And again, I didn't know the direction of this series or where things were going really until like halfway through book 2. Book 3 has it all. It is, oh my God, it's so fun. It's so fun. It's fun. It's spicy. It feels very high stakes. It's the most high stake situation of them all. You kind of have all of the characters in one place as the story unfolds a number of times in this, and it's really good. I was sweating. I was sweating at the end of this, okay? Like, the final scene of this book, whoo, it is a wild ride, and it is really fun. Thoroughly enjoyed this. A lot happens in this one. Like, I get why it's as thick as it is, but let me tell you, it goes by really fast. Really, really fast. The vibes in this book are vibing. Like, it feels like a really fun fantasy romance, but The romance is a big part of it, okay? But it's not every single page, every single chapter. Because you bounce around to a number of different POVs, there's so many different storylines happening. There's a lot that kind of all converges at once. It's a really just entertaining story, and I cannot wait to start the next one. So really enjoying this. Highly recommend. Check trigger warnings. This has been my favorite book in the series so far. 5 out of 5 stars, hands down. To note my other ratings for the other books, I think I've given the other 2 4 stars. Let me check my Goodreads and I can tell you. That was my 37th book for the year, by the way. Okay, book 1 I gave 4 stars, and book 2 I gave 4 stars. So highly rated from me overall for sure. So book 3, my favorite so far. Cannot wait to see what happens in the next one. There's a little bit of a cliffhanger going on here. I'm anxious to roll into the next one. I am, however, going to shift gears and read something else for just like a hot minute because I debated. I was like, do I get my Kindle and roll right into book 4? I was texting Allie and I was like, tell me what to do because I'm overwhelmed with decisions. So I was going to roll into book 4, but I'm going to hold off for right now. And instead, I'm going to switch gears and just start something else because I actually don't. At this current moment, I don't have any other books in progress, minus Gideon the Ninth. That's the only book that I'm like very, very slowly trying to get through. It's a very wordy book that requires a lot of brain power, and I have to be in a really specific mood to read it. So that's the only book that I have in progress otherwise, which is kind of rare for me. I normally have like a massive pile of books to read. So we have these 2 options. We have the new one I just picked up, Savor It, which I'm thinking this might be the pick maybe. I don't know. We also have, this was something that I mentioned at the start of this video, pending I didn't edit it out. This was my book of the month choice for August. It's The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This was my book of the month pick for August. I picked it because I really liked the cover. It was also kind of giving me September vibes. I don't know a lot about it other than I believe it's a thriller. I think it's a thriller. I don't know. I think there's something about like a summer camp, people go missing, something with a summer camp and missing people. That's all I know. I don't know really anything else beyond that. I really like the cover of it, and that's kind of what roped me in. However, I've been seeing people read this and post their reviews about it, and it seems that a lot of people really like this. So that's kind of why I pulled it out. And, you know, I always like to be trying to work my way through my book of the month books because I did opt into one for September, and I'm very excited. I picked that like paranormal, dark fantasy romance thing that I think like a gal goes into like a hell house to save her sister or something like that. I don't know. It sounded like a good time, whatever that book was. I opted into that for September. So I would like to knock out one of the other ones that I have sitting on my shelf. And again, this is giving September-y sort of vibes. So I'm tempted to start this one. So I'm probably going to start both of these. Allie told me to start Savor It, so maybe I'll start with that one first. When in doubt, text your bestie and tell them to tell you what to read. And it oftentimes helps with the decision paralysis. So that's kind of what's on deck for right now. And then, of course, we have book 4, which I believe I'm on Gold, I think is the next one. I don't know why I get the titles of this series so mixed up. My brain cannot figure it out. But yeah, that's on my Kindle. What I am thinking too, I'll start one of these bad boys. I also kind of want to redecorate my Kindle because it's been a hot minute. So I think it might be fun to transition into like some September-y Kindle vibes. Because right now I have like my spooky summer vibes going on, which is cute. This would have been in a previous video. I definitely did this on camera. I don't know if it was in a previous reading vlog or what, but I have more stickers and fun stuff, so I think this would also be a fun activity to do as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start some new books, and we're going to redecorate the Kindle. And then I'll update you after those things happen. Dante, you're gonna have to scoot over here, pal. Can I come in here? Let me wheel you forward here. Hello, welcome to the Book Nook. This is the Book Nook. You're gonna have to bear with me. I'm still getting used to using this camera, so apologies in advance. Okay, I'm popping in here to give you a few updates because it has been, it's been a week, I think, since the last time I talked to you. Yes, it's been a week. A few quick reading updates, and then I actually have a couple of fun unboxing things to share with you. My book of the month came, as well as a super cool thing a company sent me. So I'm going to share that with you guys. But first, I did want to give you a quick reading update. I did finally finish my audiobook, A Life with Ghosts, which I will put here. You know, it's kind of like a memoir, but not. I typically don't like to rate memoirs. However, I gave this one a 3 out of 5 because I do think it's more about the ghost hunting and his experiences at a number of these different locations. You know, it's good. It's entertaining. It's a great audiobook. Definitely not one that I would like buy and own and have on my shelf sort of situation, if that helps kind of gauge like how good I thought it was. The thing that I really liked about the book, however, is the way that it is structured. Basically, each chapter is a different location, and you kind of get the history of the location, you get his personal experiences about it, you get a lot of interesting kind of behind the scenes facts. So I think definitely if you are a fan of the show, it's a fun listen. Also, because of how the book is structured in that each chapter is a different location, it's very digestible and it's very easy to pop in and out of, which is like the perfect kind of audiobook for me because I'm not a big audiobook person. Audiobooks have to grab my attention like immediately, or it has to be something really easy that I can dip in and out of. This checked that box of being very easy to dip in and out of, especially like I was able to finish it this past week while walking home after taking my kid to school. So I've got my headphones on and that's when I'm listening to my audiobooks usually. Out of the 38 books I've read so far in 2024, only 4 of them have been audiobooks. The rest of them have been actually physical books. So that kind of just goes to show you I'm not a big audiobook person. I wish I was. That said, I did start a new audiobook because I always like to have at least one in the rotation that I'm slowly chipping away at. And I decided to start We Used to Live Here. It is on Spotify. It grabbed my attention immediately. I'm only on chapter 3. Sorry, Olive is like slow rolling by my office here. That's my old lady pug. I'm already on chapter 3. Very intrigued. Like, where is this going? I've seen a number of booktubers talk about this book, that it's a really interesting, spooky, I think it's a thriller. I think it's a thriller. I don't know much about it. I'm going into it blind, but I love the cover and I've seen a number of people talk about it. So it seemed like the perfect little audiobook for the season. And again, it got my attention right away, which that is an audiobook has to get my attention right away or else it ain't happening. So we'll see how that goes. Very early days on that. Not much else I can really say beyond that. Let's talk about the other physical books that I am reading. We, of course, did finally get a copy of Glow by Raven Kennedy. This is book 4 of the Plated Prisoner series. I'm very slowly working my way through this. I bounce between the physical book and my Kindle on reading this. My God, it's a brick. Look at how big this thing is. It's obnoxious. Mind you, the font and the margins are pretty big on this. So it's not like, it's not like ACOWAR status, but it's a beast. It's a beast. So I'm grateful that I also have this on my Kindle just because there are some times where I don't want to be carrying this thing around. I'm just going to slow roll read this. That's kind of how I've tackled all the other books in the series, is it's my late night read on my Kindle. But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying this and I feel very immersed in this world and I'm really, really enjoying it. Let's talk about the next 2 books that I've started, which I talked about earlier in this video. And I'm going to talk about them oddly together because I feel it's hard not to make some compare and contrast notes on here because I've made some interesting realizations about Daydream. We will get to that in a minute. Let's talk first about, making you wobble there. So first up, let's talk about Savor It by Tara DeWitt. Obviously, we picked this up earlier in the vlog and I started reading it right away because it felt like the perfect end of summer, tip of fall sort of book. And guess what? It totally is. It totally is. I am more than halfway on it and I'm slowly chugging along here. General premise, a guy who is feeling pretty burned out on his career. He's a chef. He's a 3-star Michelin chef, although he got a star taken away. Leaves New York and comes to this delightful little small town. I think they're in the Pacific Northwest. Are they in the Pacific Northwest or am I thinking of the other book that I'm reading on audio. I don't know. It's a small town somewhere, okay? And, it's interesting. They describe the back of it, or somebody has a blurb on this. Julie Soto described it as, is if Schitt's Creek and the Bear had a love child, this would be that book. I agree. It's giving Schitt's Creek, it's giving kind of Gilmore Girls-esque vibe with the sort of other townspeople that are in this. I thoroughly enjoy both characters. I like the male main character and the female character. I like them together. I like them separately. I love the dialogue. I feel like there's been some very poignant moments in this book, sort of about enjoying the moment, being in the present. And that's something that our male main character has a very difficult time doing. He seems like a very anxiety-induced fellow, which your girl can relate to. So there's been a number of things in here that I have actually like tabbed and highlighted because I just really liked it. And it was just some things that I felt like I could write down and come back to. It's been really nice. So this book is very cozy. It's like a cozy, warm little blanket. It's giving that vibe. It's very cozy. I really am enjoying it. The writing is really great. I'm really enjoying it. Very much a slow burn. Very slow burn. Okay. I do see some spice on the horizon, but I'm really, really enjoying this book a lot. So that's that. I can't give you a rating quite yet. I am more than halfway, but it's trending in the 4-star range for me, just to give you kind of an idea. That's not my final rating, but just letting you know. I don't know if I'm going to finish any more books in this vlog. So there you go. So I've been toggling between this and my buddy read, Daydream. Ooh, let's talk about this book for a hot minute. Okay, this is Daydream by Hannah Grace. Hannah Grace is the author of Icebreaker, which I loved. I loved Icebreaker. It was a spicy, fun college romp. It made me think of my sorority days, my party days in college, and it was a grand old time, okay? Then her second book came out, the summer camp one. What was that one called again? Where is it? Wildfire, okay? Then Wildfire came out, which was her like summer camp one, which I was like, okay, it was all right. It was all right. That was a 3-star book for me. Icebreaker was a 5-star book for me. That's how much I enjoyed it. Icebreaker was 5 stars. Wildfire, I believe I gave 3 stars to. It was okay. I think I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, I don't know. This. Okay. Now, I don't know if it's me or if it's the book. And I'm going to tell you my 2 problems with this, okay? We're back with the same college crew, okay? It's a team of hockey players. Our male main character is Henry. He is a character that you would have seen pop up in I'm going to keep holding the book so that you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Our male main character, Henry, here was actually kind of a fan favorite. You get to know him a little bit in the previous 2 books, and I highly recommend you read these books in order if you are going to read them. I believe they're supposed to be interconnected standalones, but let me tell you, there are so many people in this book. The characters, the hockey team, the girlfriends, the friends of girlfriends, the roommates, I can barely keep up. I've read some pretty in-depth fantasy books, but I think it's also just I don't care. Like there's so many. Okay, wait, I'm getting off topic. Hold on. So we have Henry, fan favorite from the previous 2 books, and I would agree. I was very much looking forward to Henry's story, okay? Haley or Hallie, she is our introverted, extroverted, bookish Swiftie. Yeah. And this is coming from a Swiftie, okay? A late in life Swiftie, might I add. And the 2 of them get together. They meet at her book club or whatever it is, and they start talking this, that, and the other. It is very slow burn. There are some tropes in here that I am not a fan of. I'm not going to spoil them, but I'm not a fan of the tropes. I'm not a fan of the characters. And here's what it is. To me, it feels like this author, she had to write this to the fans that like wanted Henry's story. And it's almost like she wanted to pack as much relatable things in here, relatable, trendy things as she could into this female character. So that's my first problem with it. My second problem, and this might be a me thing and not the book. This whole thing might be a me thing. The other big thing that I'm having with this book is that I might just not be a college romance kind of gal. And it's probably because I am reading and have read since Icebreaker a lot of romance since then. And I just find myself more invested and interested in characters like this where they're a little bit older, they have genuine life issues. They're a little bit closer to my age. Again, it might just be a personal thing because it's just like, oh my God, the things that they do in this, the dialogue, the conversations, the interactions with other friends. I cannot keep track of the people in this. I can't keep up with the people in this book. And I also just don't care. I just don't care. Needless to say, I'm really not enjoying this book at all. And it's really hard because I'm looking at how much more I have in this book. This book feels long. Why is it this long? Why is it this long? Woof. So I don't know. I'm really disappointed. I was really looking forward to this. And so far it's really not hitting the mark for me. I'm not going to DNF it. I don't hate it that much. And I still have quite a bit. I'm not even at the halfway on this. I'm not even at the halfway point. I'm just really not enjoying it, and it just bums me out. And I don't know if it's a me thing. It might be a me thing. But Savor It, however, is good. And maybe that's part of the problem. I feel way more invested and interested in what's going on in those characters' lives than what's happening here in this book. So maybe I'm doing Daydream a disservice by reading this at the same time. I don't know. It is interesting to have those sort of comparisons as a reader, though. Just saying. All right, so that's the current reads. We've got Glow and then the 2 romance books here. Let me show you the things that came in the mail here. First of all, let's talk about Book of the Month. Not sponsored. My God, I wish it was. Let's get it. I already pre-opened it. Book of the Month. Oh, this is cute. I always love seeing what's on the bookmark. Back for more. The book that I did end up picking, however, was, oh, look at this cover. Oh my God. Was Phantasma. Phantasma. I love the cover, but I was really intrigued by the blurb. Phantasma has only 2 rules: stay alive and don't fall in love. When Ophelia discovers her mother brutally murdered, there's no time to grieve. She's inherited the family's fearsome magic and enormous debt. I think something happens where she ends up going into like a haunted house. Phantasma is a cursed manor full of twisting corridors and lavish ballrooms, staffed by enticing demons and fatal temptations. And Ophelia must conquer all 9 floors to succeed if her fears don't overtake her first. Oh yeah, she has to save her sister. Her sister's in this like crazy hell house, chock full of demons. And that just sounded really interesting. I don't know, it felt like appropriate for the season. It is really fun to see other people's Book of the Month unboxings to see like what they picked. I haven't seen anyone else pick this book. I feel like people picked other ones, so I'm like, did I miss the mark on this? But I don't know, this seems right up my alley. Like, I have to go save my sister and go into a hell house with a bunch of demons. Yeah, I want to do that. Okay, last but not least, I did have a company reach out to me, and they asked me if I wanted to try out one of their products. So I want to show you what it is, and I'm actually really excited, and I am going to get it set up and use it because it is for my Kindle, and it's one of those really cool Kindle holder things. I've wanted one of these for a while, to be honest with you, and I've had one in my wish list, but I just never went about and got it. So when this company reached out to me, I was like, yes, I will gladly take one to try out. Let's do this. So they sent one to me to try out. Let me get it out of the box here. Hold on. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so look at how cute this is. Okay, I have to put it together. Don't worry, we're gonna put it together. This is the fluffy bowl part that sits, you know, wherever you want. Okay, I have to put this together. I'm gonna put this together and I will show you, but oh dear. But it's one of those really cool Kindle reader things, and it has a little snack bowl. This is the little snack bowl that's on the inside of it. And then it has an arm on it so I can hook up my Kindle and put my Kindle in it. So I have snacks and my Kindle reading. So I'm really excited about this. So I will get it set up and then I'll show you. They had a number of different colors. I think they had a gray one. They had a number of different colors to pick, but I went with the green one just because I thought, I don't know, it was giving spooky glow-in-the-dark green vibes, so that's what I went with. They had a really cute pink one too. I almost picked out the pink one. I will say this is very soft. Just this donut part alone is very soft. But let me put it together and get it set up, and then continue doing a bit of reading on my Kindle to give it a little whirl. And then I'll be sure to check back in with you guys before this video is over. Hopefully I can finish one of these books. I don't know. I doubt it, but I want to at least get this thing set up here. This video is going to be so long. Oh, apologies in advance. Hello from the floor of my studio here. Coming in. Hello from the floor. Oh, geez. I'm still trying to figure out the best place to film with this camera, so bear with me here while I'm going through an adjustment. It's also very dark outside, so I unfortunately have like my overhead lighting on, which is not the best, so apologies, but I'm gonna make this quick because this vlog has been never ending. I'm coming in hot with a little reading wrap up. We're gonna talk about just real quick some of the books that I have finished in the past 2 weeks here, because it's been about 2 weeks since I started filming, so let me give you the deets here. Oh, Schmuppy. Okay. Is that a good spot for you? Okay. So I thought it would be helpful to do a little bit of a quick recap of everything that I've read in this vlog, which has been about 2 weeks or so, as well as a sleeper hit that I didn't see coming, that I unboxed in this vlog and then didn't film much of me reading it because I got so obsessed with it. We'll get to that last. Of course, you were watching me... Puppy, can you sit down, please? There we go. Of course, you were watching me read the Plated Prisoner series. I was on book 3, Gleam, which I finished. This was definitely my favorite of the series thus far. Thoroughly enjoyed it. As you can see, I was even annotating it, but highly recommend this series. It's really fun. Check for triggers. There's a lot of triggering things in this. Check for triggers. This was 5 stars for me. My favorite in the series thus far. Savor It by Tara DeWitt. I did really enjoy this. This was a nice, fluffy, cozy read. I liked both characters separately and together. I liked that they each had their own hardships that they had to sort of deal with before kind of getting together. I liked the setting, the town, the small town vibes of it. This was just a nice, easy breezy, cozy read. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was 4 out of 5 stars. Next, we have Daydream by Hannah Grace. I did end up finishing this. I think where we left off, I was only like 30% in or something like that. I did end up finishing this because it was a buddy read. I was reading this with my best friend, Allie. I'll be honest with you. If I wasn't doing this as a buddy read, I would have DNF'd this book. 100%. I have already talked a lot about this and the same problems still exist. I don't know if it's me or if it's the book. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just wondering if my college romance days are over here because I just feel like I've read so many other things, including a genre that I'm realizing I'm obsessed with as I'm looking at this book over here. I don't know. I'm just wondering if my college romance days are over. This book was just, it felt too long, too many characters. The two of them together were just like too perfect. It's a big bummer. I was really looking forward to this. This unfortunately was a 1-star read. Again, had it not been a buddy read, I would have DNF'd it. Not much else to say about this. I don't know. This was my biggest disappointment. I was really looking forward to this. I'm curious to hear your thoughts down below. Have you read this? And do you feel the same way I do about it? I don't know. Then, after Daydream, I decided, you know what? Let's go ahead and pick up my book of the month pick for September, which was Phantasma. I picked this for my book of the month pick because I just really liked the description of it. The idea of this woman going into a like haunted house of sorts that she has to sort of survive the 9 circles of hell to basically try to rescue her sister who's in there. I don't want to say anything else about this because the best thing ever is to just go in blindly. Like, just go in blindly. I loved this book so much. I feel like this book was literally made for me. Like, literally made for me. Complete random side note, maybe it was written for me because Phantasma, the event and haunted house that happens in this book, literally opens on my birthday in this book. So I knew from the start it was going to work out great. Why do I love this book so much? First of all, I'm realizing I am a big paranormal romance girly. I'm looking back to other books that I have really loved, thinking back to earlier this year when I read Bride by Allie Hazelwood. I loved that book. Loved this book too on the same level. I think I have found my niche, and that is being a dark fantasy paranormal romance girly. I'm looking forward to reading more books in the genre because I've become absolutely obsessed. This book is freaking fantastic. She's a witch in New Orleans and her mom is murdered. That is not a spoiler. It happens right like page 2. Mom is murdered. She takes over her magic. She is left in sort of a dire debt sort of situation. Sister ends up entering this contest called Phantasma, which is this big spooky house that appears and is run by demons and ghouls and phantoms. And it's just a really good time. She ends up having to go into the house to save her sister. She meets someone along the way. My God, it's so entertaining. The pace of this is rapid fire. I blew through this so fast. We're talking like 2.5 days. That's why I didn't film myself reading it, because I was enjoying it so much. The pace is quick. The story is interesting. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going on. There's great plot, great characters. The setting is amazing. Spooky house, New Orleans, demons, gore, ghosts, magic, romance, spice, well-placed spice, fun spice. It is a spicy book. I will say that. I will also say check trigger warnings. Our main character here suffers with some mental health issues, specifically of OCD, which I thought was really well represented in this book. And I just really, really enjoyed it. I loved the main character. I loved our love interest. The whole thing, I ate this up so much. I loved it. I ended up annotating it, tabbing it. There are quotes from this that I absolutely love that I've already written down in my journal, in my planner journal. I am obsessed with this book. So if you're looking for a spooky, spicy, gory, trials, ghosts, gothic good time, this is the book for you. This by far might just be my favorite thing that I've read this year, which is crazy. Freaking love this book. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to jump on and do a quick recap, because I'm literally about to go hand it off to my best friend. So I wanted to film this while I physically still have it before I hand it off to my bestie to read, because I think she's going to love it too. Highly recommend. Please check trigger warnings beforehand. There is a second book coming out. Again, the author on this is Kaylee Smith. She has another series that I cannot remember off the top of my head. You better believe I already bought book 1 of that other series, which I think is also a witch thing. But there is going to be a book 2 of this. I believe it's going to be an interconnected standalone. I think the series is called the Wicked Games series. Book 2 comes out in April or March or something like that. You better believe I'm going to be getting that day 1 when that releases. Day one. I need it in my paws. But there you have it. This vlog, again, like I said, has been really long, but a good little September reading vlog for you here. Also, 2 quick little shout outs. Thank you to the folks that sent over that little Kindle holder thing. It is very cute. I actually find myself putting my iPad in it as well, because the little things are very adjustable on it. Because sometimes I like ambiance music while I'm reading or what have you. So I can kind of set that up like that. It's really great. Very adjustable. It's super soft, so it's perfect to have like in bed with you. I'll have an affiliate link down below if you're interested in grabbing yours. This is not sponsored. Again, they just sent it to me, but I do get a kickback because it is an Amazon affiliate link. If you do purchase down below, you will be supporting me directly, so thank you. And then, of course, book of the month. I do have my little referral link down below if you want to get a book. Not sponsored. My God, I wish it was. I wish book of the month sponsored me. But down below is my referral link. I think like you can get your first book for $5 or something like that. That's down below if you're interested too. I believe that about wraps it up. I'll put links to everything else mentioned, seen in this vlog down below. If you made it this far, let's put, and my God, thank you for watching if you've made it this far. If you've made it this far, let's put a little rose and a skull down below for my love of Phantasma. My God, I love this book so, so much. I already want to reread it. Like, anywho, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I put out a new video every week. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.